Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Matt again, Tanks Lawn Maintenance. It is currently 8:47 p.m. Friday evening, February 16th, 2024, year of our Lord. I just got done putting out one video. Now I'm coming back at y'all again with another one. This one, I want to talk about something completely different, man. And I don't want y'all to take this video the wrong way. I really don't. There's some of you might think that I'm bashing you, and some of you just don't take this the wrong way, man. But I want to tell y'all what happened to me Wednesday, man. I was at my full-time job making a delivery at a restaurant, Jersey Mike Subs here in Augusta. There's a bunch of them here in this area, but Jersey Mike Subs, they got some real good food too, man. If you've ever ate there, you know what I'm talking about. But they're a little pricey, as is everywhere else nowadays. But anyway, I was over there, and there was a landscaping company out there. It's not one of the biggest in our area, but it's one of the bigger ones in our area. And this company actually services my neighborhood. They actually take care of the HOA, the entrance, all the green spaces, and natural areas around here in my subdivision. But go figure, I live here and they won't even give me the time of day. But it's all good, man. I'm not really prepared to do any kind of work of that scale yet. But anyway, the guy was talking to me. You know, he asked me if I needed him to move his truck out of my way. And I was like, nah, you're good right there where you're at, man. And he told me, he said, yeah, man, we got this last one, and then we're going to the house. I said, I hear you, buddy. I hear you. I said, man, y'all working hard and y'all got this place looking good. I said, I know y'all working hard because I do it too. And he said, oh yeah, you on a landscaping car? You doing landscaping on the side? I said, well, I own a little smaller landscaping company. I said, I'm a solo operator. I said, I guess you could say I'm doing it on the side right now, but it's actually my full-time job, and what I'm doing right now is my side hustle. And he started laughing. He said, oh, I get what you're saying. You're going full-time pretty soon, and you've just been growing for the past few years. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying right now. But he's like, well, what's your company? He said, what's the name of your company? I said, Tanks Lawn Maintenance. He said, oh yeah, I've heard of you. He said, you got a pretty good reputation in the area, man. He said, you're going places from what I hear. And I said, well, I appreciate it, man. I said, I didn't realize that my name has gotten as big as it was in this area. And he was like, yeah, man, you do in our industry, you know, your name is out there, and people know about you. And but nobody's ever had, he said, I've never heard anything bad come out of anybody's mouth about you. And I was like, well, that's good, man. I'm glad to hear that. And I said, that really does make me feel good, man. I take a lot of pride in what I do, and I try to make sure my name has zero stigma attached to it. And he said, yeah, man, that's really what you want. Your reputation is everything in this industry. And he said, it's like that in any industry, though. He said, I used to do duct work for a living, and I'm actually about to go back to it, man. This stuff right here, man, this just ain't it, man. It ain't it. I said, what do you mean, man? I said, there's good money in landscaping. He said, yeah, there's great money if you're the business owner. He said, but around here, man, guys are cheap when it comes to paying their help. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, well, if you don't mind me asking, man, I said, what's the going rate for landscapers to pay their help? And he said, well, I'm making $14 an hour. I looked at him, I said, how long you been with this company? He said, 6 years. I said, what is your role in the company? He said, well, I'm actually this crew leader. And I said, you're a crew leader and you're making $14 an hour. And he said, yes, sir. And this guy, he's probably my age, maybe a little older. And I said, dude, do you know how long it's been since I've made $14 an hour? He said, how long? I said, I want to say I was probably 20 years old the last time I made $14 an hour, man. And I was coming up through the ranks at a job I had with the railroad. And he said, well, how much you making right now? And I just gave him a ballpark price of how much I make a year. And he said, wow. He said, man, he said, if I made that money, dude, if I made that kind of money, I'd have zero complaints. I said, oh, well, you'd have complaints if you worked for this company. I said, money ain't everything. I said, you really need to find happiness. And he said, yeah, you're right about that, man. And we just got to talking or whatever. And, he was like, yeah. He says, so do you have employees or anything like that? I said, no. I said, I'm not really at a point where I can afford to pay anybody. And I said, that day's coming. I said, I imagine probably in the next 2 or 3 years, I'll have enough work where I'm gonna have no choice but to hire some help. And he said, yeah, man, whatever you do, just whenever you get to a point that you start hiring people, man, he said, I've never been a business owner. I said, I've been a crew leader for the past 4 years, but I said, and I don't know what all goes into it, but take care of your employees, man. He said, if you take care of your employees in this industry, they will take care of you. And he said, I've been doing this kind of work. He said, this is the second landscaping company I've worked for in the past 10 years. He said, I've been here 6 years. And he said, I have noticed that when you start hiring people, your business will escalate. And he said, it'll take off because that's just the way it is. You have more time to do more work, and which in turn will put more money in your pocket, but you really do need to share that with your employees, man. I said, well, dude, it's not just in landscaping. I said, that's in any occupation. I said, even if you're a truck driver, you need to get paid. It needs to be worth your time. And I said, I don't know the guy. I said, I know of the guy that owns that company. I said, but I don't know him. And I said, he probably doesn't know me. And I said, but $14 an hour is not enough. Not around here. That's not enough to pay your help. I mean, and it's not, guys. I don't know what other markets are like, so I'm not gonna comment on other markets. But I can tell you right now, around here, you're not gonna live off of $14 an hour. You're just not. I mean, think about this, especially if you're if you're doing it the right way. You're taxing your employees and or having taxes taken out of their check and giving them a W-2 at the end of the year. But just say you give one of your guys that's been working 40, 50 hours a week in 100-degree heat a paycheck for $500 or $600. 20 years ago, you could have got by with that, okay? At least in my area, you could have got by with that 20 years ago. We're just gonna focus on my area right now. We're not gonna focus on other parts of the country because I don't know. I don't know the market, so I'm not gonna badmouth any of you for paying your guys $14 an hour because it may be worth it in your area, but in my area, it's not. You can't even rent an apartment in my area with that kind of money. But if I worked for a man for 40, 50 hours a week in 100-degree weather, rain or shine, and he handed me a paycheck for $500 on Friday, I'd probably go crank a hedge trimmer up and give him a haircut with it. That's probably, in my opinion, in my area, like I said, my area, that's probably the most degrading thing you can do to a man, and is to cut him short on his paycheck like that. I get it. That employee agreed to $14 an hour. He did, but in his defense, he was probably desperate when he agreed to it. And if you're out there taking advantage of people that are desperate for money, you are the worst type of person. I'm sorry, you just are. You're just the worst type of person. Now, most of the guys in my area now are making between $250,000 and $500,000 doing lawn care. Just lawn care, nothing else. Okay? That's not doing installs or landscaping jobs or anything else. This is strictly cutting grass. Not even bushes, just cutting grass. Most of them are making between $250,000 and $500,000 in my area. That's guys that have 1 employee to 4 employees. That's what they're making. Now, yes, you've got overhead, okay? You've got overhead you've got to pay. You need, as the business owner, you need to make $100,000 a year. Yes. Your business does not have to profit $100,000 a year. I'm sorry. You need to pay these guys what they're worth, okay? You need to pay these guys what they're worth. You need to find out what a good solid rate is, a good livable wage is in your area, and you need to pay someone a good livable wage. And I'm gonna be honest with you. My area, I'm being dead level honest. If you're making less than $800 a week in my area, you are living well below the poverty line, well below. And I just don't see how people can live like that. I really don't. I'll tell you this, okay? My wife and I went to Zaxby's and we picked up food earlier tonight for myself, her, my youngest daughter, and my son. My oldest daughter is out with friends right now. They're doing their little sorority thing or whatever it is they do in college, and they all going out to eat when they get done. So we did not have to buy for her. But for 4 people, okay, 4 people, it cost us $87 at Zaxby's. This man can't afford to take his kids to Zaxby's. If I'd have got food from my oldest daughter too, it'd have been over $100. Just for 5 people at Zaxby's. I want you to think about that, okay? Take somebody that's got 3 kids. You pay him $500-$600 a week. He goes out to eat one night. One night, just decides to treat his family to a decent meal, a steak dinner, something like that. With 3 kids, you're looking at about $150, okay? At the steakhouses around here, you're looking at about $150. Some of them may even be $200. Steakhouses ain't cheap no more. Nothing's cheap anymore. Imagine this man takes his kid out, or his family out, $150, $200, and he's got to leave a tip. Okay? Just say he leaves a 15% tip. That price of that meal just went up. He just spent a quarter of his paycheck taking his family out to eat on a Friday night. A quarter of his paycheck. He has 0 money to put in his savings account, okay? He's probably going to have to juggle bills that week. Before you go hiring people, okay, there's things that need to be done. You need to make sure you're charging your customers what you need to be charging them, okay? They need to be paying you the correct amount of money. I've seen it so many times in my area. People have called me out to give them a price. When I give them that price, they say, wow, my last guy was only charging me this amount. Why are you so expensive? And I said, well, what happened to your last guy? He said, well, he quit. He couldn't keep no help, and he just couldn't do it all on his own anymore. And I said, well, did you ever think about the reason he can't keep help is because he can't afford to pay them enough because you're only paying him X amount of dollars? She said, wow, I never thought about that. I said, yeah. So you need to be charging your customers accordingly. If they want something done, you need to be charging them for everything they do, okay? When you have employees, even if you're working solo, time is money. If you're spending time on somebody's property, if you're charging someone $70 an hour, okay, and it takes you 1 hour, if it takes you a solid hour to do whatever you're doing, you need to pay. You need to charge them $70 an hour. Don't be out there knocking down weeds in their flower beds. Don't be trimming this branch or trimming that branch. All that stuff adds up, guys. Okay, every bit of that stuff adds up. Time is money. You've got to pay your guys to do that stuff. You've got to pay yourself to do that stuff. Okay? Second of all, you need to make sure that you have enough work coming in, enough profitable work coming in, that you can afford to pay people a livable wage in your area. You need to be able to pay these guys. Because this is the thing. I don't know what the weather is in your area, but in my area, it gets up to 105 degrees some days with 100% humidity. That's tough to handle. That's tough to deal with. Okay? You're expecting these guys to bring their own drinks every day. You're expecting them to be able to pay for their lunch every day. Or bring their own lunch, whatever. Okay? Most of you, you might give them a t-shirt or something to wear, maybe a hat, but you're not paying for their shoes. You're not paying for their pants, and that's understandable. That's understandable. Some of you aren't paying for their safety glasses and earplugs or headphones. Some of them are having to pay for their own stuff. All that's fine. But if you're doing that, you better make sure your employees can afford to buy that stuff. Okay? Now, yes, as business owners, we have overhead. Okay? But you've got to understand, employees have their own overhead they have to pay. They have to put gas in their vehicles to meet you where they are. They have to fix their lunch every day or buy their lunch every day. They have to fix their drinks or buy their drinks every single day. Okay? They have to take care of their health. That's a big thing. You have to take care of yourself when you're doing this kind of work because this weather is brutal. And then, not to mention the fact they have their own bills they have to pay. They have their families they have to support. $14 an hour is not enough money. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I get to a point where I have to start hiring people, if I can't afford to pay somebody $20 an hour, I'm going to scale back. So I'm not paying somebody less than $20 an hour to help me. It's too damn hot out here. I'm sorry. If I can't pay them $20 an hour or a salary of $800 52 weeks out of the year in order to retain that customer for the next year, then I'm just not going to hire any help. I'm just going to scale back. And that's the way it should be, guys. You've got to take care of your employees. One thing as business owners, and I know a lot of people out there, and probably some of you may be the same way. Some of you may have never had to work for another man. You might have been a business owner your entire life. And there's nothing wrong with that. You may have a business that was handed to you from your dad or your grandpa or whatever. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Somebody had this plan to start a business and hand it down to their kids one day. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you are one of those people, look, I ain't mad at you. I ain't hating on you. I'm happy for you because you didn't have to experience the woes of working for another man. Look, I don't wish working for another man on anybody. So if you're one of those people that have never had to do it, good for you. I'm happy for you. I really am. But if you're somebody that has had to work for another man, you never need to forget what it is like working for another man. It flat out sucks. Don't ever forget what it's like to have that employee mindset. Take care of your employees. You need to pay them a livable wage, okay? I ain't talking about a wage where all they can afford is some little piece of crap apartment, People want to have things in life. Everybody wants to have things in life, okay? I hear it all the time. Oh, well, minimum skills only brings in minimum pay. Yeah, that's fine. Minimum wage is fine for a McDonald's worker, Burger King, Walmart. That's fine. But Them Burger King and McDonald's and Walmart workers ain't out here working in the rain, putting down mulch or pine straw or putting down sod. These minimum wage workers, they're not out here cutting grass in 105-degree weather. They just ain't doing it. They ain't out here blowing leaves around in 15 or 20-degree weather. Okay? So, you need to never forget what it's like to work for another man. It sucks. Okay? You need to take care of your employees, and your employees will take care of you. That's the end of my rant. Hey, hope y'all got something out of that. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that like button. If you got something to say, leave a comment down in the box below. But until the next one, y'all keep cutting that grass and keep making that money. Holla at y'all. Bye.